Welcome to Reality Tea Times 2, the podcast where we discuss all the trash reality TV we love to hate. I'm Tanika, and today we are going to be finally discussing The Bachelor, the final episode. So I won't go too much into the announcement because the show is done, so there's nothing I need to really announce on this. But yeah, there's nothing I really need to announce with this. But I will have something to say with Married at First Sight once I do that one. But again, just as a blanket thing, major announcement for the podcast being on a break for the next month, April 1st, April 29th, due to my surgery. If you want a full recap on the announcement, hop over to the Love and Translation episode that aired on March 28th. The first 13 minutes go in depth as to what to expect with this in terms of coverage of the shows. And there is also the announcement pinned on the Facebook page as well. So it's there. Everything is there, but I'm not going to go through the announcement any more than that here, just because this show is now done, so there's nothing I need to talk about on this show. So that is that. But I do have some hot goss, and it is some Bachelor related hot goss. So here we go. So with the new Bachelorette, that I'm going to wait to say until the end, just in case you didn't watch the episode. But it is being mentioned that the first episode of the upcoming season will not be filmed at the Bachelor Mansion as it normally is. And this particular Bachelorette said, I think what I've been trying to tell myself is I am the first of this type of Bachelorette, and we're really breaking the mold of this season. I feel like a new mansion is the perfect way to break the mold. I'm going to bless it with some really good vibes. So instead, night one of season 21 of The Bachelorette will take place at Hummingbird Nest Ranch in Santa Susana in California. So that's where they'll be. Our Bachelorette and her suitors will depart the US after that and travel to countries including Australia and New Zealand. So that's basically what's kind of happening with that. So if you're curious as to why they're not filming at the Bachelor Mansion, which I thought the same thing, because it's the Bachelor Mansion. Like, this is iconic. The reason is it's a little unclear, but if you do know the history of, I guess, the mansion, it is a rental property, and it appears there's no, listings for the mansion on Airbnb, for example. So maybe it just wasn't free, which is really weird. But it's fine. It's fine. We're gonna be just fine. I'm gonna try not to lose it, but it's fine. But that's it for the hot goss. Much else to really discuss, because, like I said, this is the final episode, so it is what it is. But let's hop into the reason that we are here. The Bachelor, season 28, episode 11, the finale, and after the final rose. So the first thing we hear from Jesse is happy birthday, Bachelor. Bachelor 22 years old. I feel so fucking old. Yikes. But anyways, we are also going to be finding out who the new Bachelorette is, which I've mentioned. But before we do all of that, we gotta finish this up first. So here we go. So the women are going to be meeting his family, So we got his dad, his mom, his sister Carly, his other sister Ellie, and Zach, who is his brother-in-law. And Joey gives his family the rundown of each of them. So it's going to go great. So the first woman who's going to be meeting the family is Daisy. Daisy is worried that maybe they won't see her for her and won't see how great that her and Joey are. We go through, you know, how they met with the Christmas tree truck and everything, and talking about the cochlear implant, and how kind of great he was with that news, and everyone's getting really emotional, and so yeah, it's going good so far. So Daisy is going to talk with his sisters alone, and they ask her, have you told him that you love him? And she says he has a hometown, and she explains that, she told him she was falling in love with him, and he's like, I feel the same, but then he kind of went more in detail during fantasy suites, so yeah, kind of went through that, and she tells them that, if it is me at the end of this, I will pick him always, and he has changed me, but, I am scared because I am not the only person left, and that's terrifying. And she definitely gets really emotional in this moment, and yeah. But then his sisters talk to him, and they say they like her, and they feel that they are definitely compatible with each other. The only reservation he seems to have, though, which is really interesting for later on, and I'm going to hold on to this and talk about it after. But he mentions that, his only reservation with her is the fact that she tends to hold back, and he does acknowledge that maybe she's holding back because this process is scary, especially at this point. You don't want to get your heart broken, but it does scare him, you know. And his sisters tell him, listen, we feel that she is all in with you, and we feel like, based on the conversation that they had, that if it wasn't her at the end, she would be devastated. So then, yikes, guys, this. So Daisy is talking to his mom, and his mom asks, what makes you unique? What makes you Daisy? And she says that, she's, resilient, which she is, and she says she loves big, and, she's always been that way. And, she's like, what worries her sometimes, though, because, you know, loving that hard has definitely backfired on her. And, it can definitely make you a little afraid. And his mom was like, well, why do you think that is? She's like, well, fear. Well, what are you afraid of? What's making you hold back? And I mean, everything Daisy's saying is pretty valid, in my honest opinion. But his mom is like, well, this process is pretty big for you then if you're afraid. Like, how could you do this process? And now you're just down to two women. Like, this is supposed to be really terrifying. You could tell in the audience when his mom was watching this back is like, the fuck am I doing? What Daisy feels, at the end of the day, I do feel like he's worth it. She would rather, put it all out there than to hold back and to not have him at the end, which is really funny too, because he considers her still holding back, and she considers that she isn't holding back and just put it all out there. So I don't know, there's definitely a miscommunication here, but we do see when Daisy's talking about, all of this and being really emotional, we see our good old Gary out in the audience losing his fucking mind, y'all. He's crying. I said, of course Gary's crying. Come on. Anyways. But his mom tells her, listen, she would be honored to have her as her daughter-in-law. She's like, I just want you to be happy. And if that's with Joey, then great. And Daisy said she would love to have her as her mother-in-law. But that's basically it for Daisy. Daisy's leaving now, and that's great. Yay. So, in my opinion, I thought this went really well. Family seemed to really mesh well with her, and she seemed to mesh well with them, and I thought that went really well. But let's go on to the next. We got Daisy. And before we hop it, to say Daisy, sorry, Kelsey. Sorry, guys. So yeah, Kelsey. Before we get into Kelsey A, we see Kelsey T out in the audience with her dad. Her dad's here with her. I love it. Anyways, so yeah, back to Kelsey. So Kelsey and Joey are now here, me with family, and they're talking about their first meeting with the voodoo doll and all that. And we talk about the Vespa in Spain, and she makes a joke that Joey's kind of like, your Lizzie McGuire moment, it's my Lizzie McGuire moment. If you know, you know. Because as soon as I heard that, I'm like, oh my god, yes, the Lizzie McGuire movie. Oh god, those were the days. Anyways, it's a great movie when you were like 13. It was great. Anyways, um, so we talk about, her mom and losing her mom, and which was also very emotional in that conversation. But then Kelsey is going to be talking to his sisters, and Kelsey tells them, I know that I love him and I want to choose him every day. Okay, great, perfect. They ask her, do you feel ready to be married? Kelsey says, well, I mean, I don't feel like I need to be married. I didn't come into this wanting to be married. The fuck you say, ma'am? You're on The Bachelor where people get married or engaged or whatever the fuck. What are you talking about? Why'd you come on the show if you didn't want to be, potentially getting married at the end of this? This is such a weird response. But anyways, yeah, she said she didn't come on this to be married. Weird. And when asked, would you be ready to accept a proposal? She responds back with, yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, I think I just fucking entered the Twilight Zone. What do you mean? Yeah, I think so. Why are you here then, ma'am? If you're not all in being like, yeah, I do. I mean, I feel like she says, like, I wouldn't have been necessarily thinking marriage if it weren't for the man that for him. Like, I want to marry him, which is fine. That's how my thoughts are on marriage at this point, because I've been here, I've done that. And I was the same way. I'm like, I don't know if I necessarily want to get married again. But then I'm in my relationship and I'm like, yeah, I want to marry him. I wouldn't necessarily maybe want to marry somebody else. But I'm considering it because it's him, which is fine. And that's a fair statement. But you've already gone over and beyond that now. It is him. There is no one else here. You're expressing these feelings for him. So then why are you turning around being like, yeah, I think I'm ready? What? I'm so confused. But anyways, the sisters that talk to Joey and they say, yeah, the conversation went pretty well with Kelsey. But then Ellie's like, let me ask you this question. Has she expressed that she wants to marry you at all? Or like, no, like what's going on here? And he says, well, no. I figured like now's the time to really talk about those things. Sir, you're over here talking about how, oh, I want to make sure someone chooses me at the end of this. And you don't ask these basic fucking questions. What is happening? The final episode has gone to shits. Like, what? They say, well, listen, Daisy was asked a similar question, and Daisy says, like, she's 100% ready. But Kelsey is like, maybe not, you know? And, maybe it's nerves. It's very possible. But he's like, listen, I have no doubts about Daisy. I know she's in this. Wait, what? didn't you just a minute ago, like maybe like an hour ago, literally say, well, I have some reservations about Daisy because she kind of holds back. But now you're saying, well, I'm not concerned about Daisy. That's really fucking telling for how this will turn out. But it's like, wait, oh, what? It was such a weird response from him too, but he has no doubts about that. And it's with Kelsey, you know, it's a little, maybe a little different. I don't know, it was weird. But then Kelsey, we see her talking to his dad, and he says, well, he's like, you are one of two. What if it's not you that's picked? And Daisy just immediately just starts crying instantly. And she says, Daisy is incredible. And the thought of her heart being broken obviously bothers, it bothers her. Um, but also having her heart broken is also very scary. But then we see her talking to his mom, and she says, if it's not me, I will be happy for him and Daisy. And his mom tells her, listen, his hometown with Charity, he felt he was the one. He had no doubts. But he also said if she does pick someone else, then that was her forever person. And I want that because I want her to be happy. And that was a very sweet thing. And also a very selfless thing. But yeah, that's basically it. Kelsey's gonna leave now, and that is the end of the meeting of the parents. So let's move on to Daisy's last date. So in the moment, she says, I really want him to be a part of my life. And my heart breaks. But here we go. So they're going to be doing a spiritual type cleansing, I guess. And, they'll be connecting with nature. Seems great. She's into this. And, she's kind of hoping for him to provide her with some validation during this date. And she kind of says, like, it's interesting. She says, like, I just feel frustrated in this moment. And she says, like, the reason she's feeling frustrated in this moment is because she wants to tell him she loves him and that it hurts. And while she hugs herself, she's trying to protect herself. And I'm just like, oh, God. Like, again, if you saw the episode already, you're just like, God, your heart just breaks. I was getting emotional, watching this back. And yeah, the producer asks her, why does it hurt? And she says, because he's not sure of me. So they're gonna make some wishes now. And her wish is kind of to just be able to learn about him. And her desire, I should say. His desire is for them to find happiness, whether that is with each other or not. I just want what's best for you. And he looks so frustrated in this moment when they hug too. It's like, oh, what? And she's now in her head about it. And I don't blame her. She says it feels, heavy. And she says, I never felt heavy with him before. And she's starting to worry that she isn't it. Because she is so used to people not picking her. And, she says they love her, but they don't want her. God, my heart fucking breaks for Daisy, honestly. So now it's the night portion, and she's going to, be going into this believing it is her, despite how she felt earlier. And he is going to, sorry, she tells him, I told my family that, you changed my life and you, don't know when love is going to happen, but I do love you. And it feels natural and it's uplifting. It's just, I feel so good around you. And he says, it feels good to hear. And she feels good, finally saying it. But she was kind of hoping for a little more validation from him. And I definitely understand that. But he tells her, I hope you know how hard it's been. And I have this huge decision that I have to make. It's not necessarily the right decision, but it's the right decision for me. It's a huge weight, you know, that he has to kind of take on, I guess. And he's like, I felt confident this night when it was his turn and it was taken away. He's like, I don't want to do that with either of you. And it's a very interesting thing that he's saying, because to me, in this moment when he's telling her this, it felt very reminiscent to Gary when he was talking to Leslie. It felt so reminiscent of that. It's like, oh God, that's how I was feeling. And Daisy says, things feel very off. He isn't talking about the future with me. Instead, he's talking about the decision he has to make. And, you know, she's right. And he thanks her for being fully in, even when she said maybe you've had doubts along the way. And she says, thank you. He's like, well, I gotta go. And, you want to walk me out? And he says he's very conflicted. And at one point, when he's walking away, he looks back at her. And I personally felt like this look that he gave her was this look of concern. This look of concern of, I am going to break your heart in a couple of days and I don't know how I'm going to do it. That's how it felt. And for her, she feels like something might be, you know, missing with her for him. And she says, if I am being 100% honest, I don't think it's me. Mm. But that's it for their last date. Let's move on to Kelsey and her last date. So, not much I want to really talk about in the day portion of this, but they're going to be kind of doing like a spa day and, pedicures. Joey says are really tough for him. He might just kick her in the face. And I said, I have never felt so seen in my life in this moment than in this moment. Because, yeah, me too. I also worry that I might kick someone in the face. I'm assuming he's ticklish. And trust me, it's not the kind of ticklish where you're just like, hee hee hee. No, it's literally ticklish like I'm gonna box you in your face with my feet. It's a problem. But anyways, um, so yeah, they, do masks and he says I look like a serial killer. Then they do massages. So that's basically it. Meanwhile, with Daisy, she's still, she's feeling sad. She's feeling hurt from the night before. And she just wants to feel chosen by somebody. And unfortunately, she hasn't gotten that. And, oh, God. Now it's the night portion of the date. And Kelsey tells Joey that she is ready for an engagement within a day, ma'am. 2 days, sorry. Jesus. Because it would be with him, she says. And when your parents asked about it maybe not being me, I broke down and he says, you just don't want to think about it. And you know what? That's okay. I don't want you to. I'm sorry. Wait, what? Let me finish this up and I'll continue my thoughts. But yeah, he says, I don't want you to. And he says that he doesn't want her to have doubts. And he feels very lucky to have met her. And I'm just like, wait 1 fucking minute. You literally just spent your entire time with Daisy doomsdaying with her about this whole situation, and it's probably not going to be her at the end of this, and basically trying to prepare her for that. And then you tell Kelsey, well, of course you don't want to think about those things, and I don't want you to think about those things. I want you to feel confident in us. I don't want you to have any doubts because, man, I'm picking you. That's what you did. And it's so fucked up that he did that. Like, I don't necessarily want him to fake it till he makes it because these are people's hearts you're dealing with. But if you really weren't feeling it with Daisy, and I feel in my heart, he knew it was Kelsey. And we do get some insight from Daisy a little later on. But you knew it was Kelsey for a while. Why couldn't you just send her home? It actually made me have more respect for Gary. Who knew? Because he's like, yeah, yeah, yeah. I think if you're catching on to that, then I think it's good that you go, kind of thing. You know what I mean? Like, what the fuck is this? Anyways, I'm really mad. But that is it for the date portion of things. We're gonna take a little. Actually, no. Yeah, no. I think we're gonna keep going. Actually, we're not gonna take a break yet. We're gonna divide it by the finale and then in studio. That's what we'll do. So it's time, y'all. It's time. Here we go. We see him picking out a Neil Lane ring, and I didn't like it. I didn't like the ring. But anyway, we see Daisy kind of getting ready. We see her walking. We don't know where she's walking to, but we see her walking, and we just see her. She's like, I'm just trying to be strong, even though she kind of feels like she wants to crumble. And then we continue seeing her walk, and we see her go up to the store, and she says, I know what I gotta do. And then we see her knocking on a door, and that's kind of where we're left. It's like, oh, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? And then when we come back, we continue seeing her knock, and she knocks again, and the door opens, and it's Kelsey. Y'all, it's fucking Kelsey. I'm still cooped and gagged about the fact that it's Kelsey. We've never seen this before, but let's continue. So, Daisy, when she gets in, she kind of asks, how are you feeling? And, asks, how did your week go? And, Kelsey says, it went well and whatever. And she says, do you mind me asking, what happened? And, she's trying to, get some information. And Kelsey tells, the family was great. The day portion of their date was quick, but the evening portion, felt really good. And she felt like a lot of validation from him. And Daisy says, well, for her, she doesn't want to be completely open and honest with you. The date was off. She's like, meeting his family was fine. But with the date, there was no validation from him. And Daisy knows Kelsey is in love with him. And I love him and I care for him, but I think she said I'm hurting. And, and it shouldn't feel this way, she says. She says she really feels like it's Kelsey. But she doesn't want to walk away right this second because what if it's not Kelsey? But we're going to get some clarity on that. So let's continue. We see the car. We see a car. And the first person we see in that car is Kelsey. Then we see another car. And we see the person in that car is Daisy. But then, y'all, plot fucking twist. We see them in the same fucking car together. I'm crying, you're crying, we're all shocked, and we're like, what is happening right now? I can't even, wow. Anyway, everyone in the audience is like, what? They were just, wow. They, um, they get there. And of course, the first person who goes up to Joey is Daisy. And he tells her, you were my first connection. We built upon that. He says that the last night felt like the best yet. And I'm like, the fuck are you talking about, Joey? No, it's not. Because you literally invalidated her in that moment. How was that the best night? But anyways, and, he says like she really gets him. But then she tells him, you came into my life for a reason. And you showed me the importance of knowing my worth. And I do love you. But the thing is, you're not going to choose me. And the last couple of days, I learned you're not my person. And you knew it too. Oh, God. Uh, and she's like, as much as that sucks, I know you want what's best for me. So I'm going to do what is best for me. And I'm going to go. And I'm not going to cry, y'all, because this is amazing. He tells her, you don't truly know how special you. And he tells her, I know I have something with someone else that's stronger, but he tells her he's gonna miss her and that she deserves the best, and he hopes that she finds it. And he's like, okay, well, he says, let me walk you out. And she's like, you know what? I think this is something that I have to do on my own. Oh man, I'm gonna cry. She's amazing. Anyway, oof. Um, and she proceeds to walk away. And I'm telling you all the tears right now too. I'm crying. He's crying. She's crying. The audience is crying. Everyone's crying because she took her power back, and I don't get how she's not Bachelorette after this, honestly. But it's fucking incredible. She's incredible. Um, and now that we're finally seeing the scene for what it is after it's been played in our face for the past 2 months, and now it just makes so much more sense. And we do see Daisy hugging Kelsey, and Joey has zero doubts that she's going to find her person because she is so special. And yeah, she fucking is. He's correct. And Daisy tells Kelsey, your mom is looking down on this moment and she is so happy and she's so proud of you. Oh man, okay, give me a minute. I'm a blubbering mess. Okay. Ugh. And she says that, you know, was hard, but I know, it's not me. And she wanted to be the last person, but now she can leave with her head held high. And she says, this is a great line. She says, if I can love the wrong person that much, imagine how much I can love the right person. So, what I'm going to say to this was the plot twist I was not expecting. And like I said, she's incredible. I've been saying this already. She's incredible. She knew it wasn't her, and she followed her gut as women normally do. We know. And she left with her held up high with the dignity she had and the pride that she had. And she said, I'm not gonna let him say goodbye to me. I'm just gonna take my power back, and I'm gonna end it here, because I know it's not me. And it's, like I said, she's incredible. There's nothing more I can say. She's incredible. And I do hope she finds her happiness, because she damn well deserves it. And y'all were right, it was Kelsey. But I loved her from the beginning, and I'm gonna keep on loving her. And maybe we can have her for a future season of The Bachelorette, because I think she's incredible. I think we should still have a future season for Maria. Jeez. Because I also think she's incredible, but I mean, Daisy's incredible. But that is it for now. I am taking a break here because I still have to finish my notes. So I'm going to take a break here, and when we come back, we will finish up with the proposal, because he does propose to Kelsey, I think we all know. And after the final rose. Have you ever wanted to guest on a podcast like this one that you're listening to right now? Well, you can. You can definitely do this by visiting a website called Podmatch, where you can sign up and be available for all different types of podcasts that you can guest on. Or you can even search for a podcast and say, I want to guest on your podcast. I think we'd be a good match. So if you want to do this, you can go to our unique link, which is joinpodmatch.com/reality, and you can sign up and do exactly that. And you can find us, and you can guest on our podcast. So again, that unique link is www.joinpodmatch.com. That's joinpodmatch.com/reality, REALITEA, and you can be a guest on our podcast. And I am back. So I am recording this a few days later. So I actually have some hot goss at the end that I will tell you now. And I also have hot goss / announcement that I'll also put here, just in case I'm not able to get Married at First Sight out to you. It's on the fence right now, so it may not get to you until after my surgery. So let's get back into The Bachelor, though, in the meantime. So we're back, and here comes Kelsey, and he tells her that he knew something was different with her from the beginning. He tells her that there is nothing difficult about telling her that he loves her. And he knew he wanted a beautiful life, but he truly didn't know how beautiful that life could be until he met her. That was very sweet. Then he gets down on one knee and he proposes, and of course she says yes. And at that point is when we see her dad in the audience. So, but there's one more thing though that Joey still needs to do, and that is whether or not she will accept his final rose. And that is the end of the finale. So let's head into the rest of, after the final rose. So we're going to bring Joey now out to the stage, and he does say, it was special seeing both Kelsey and Daisy kind of empowering each other on that day. And he said it's kind of how it should be. But he does say, how did Daisy know it wasn't going to be her? What did he was shocked that she knew. My guy, what do you mean? Did you not watch the same show we all watched? Because it was pretty fucking clear. You're not validating Daisy, but you were validating Kelsey and saying everything that made Kelsey feel like she was going to be it past all of this. And then with Daisy, you didn't. You're just kind of basically letting her down easy before actually letting her down. You know what I mean? I don't know how he must have not actually been watching this show with us. But anyways, so Daisy's out now, and Daisy tells him, the proposal was beautiful and you're both amazing people, so congratulations. Jesse asks, when did you know? And this is interesting because watching the show, you're like, oh, what do you mean? How did she know? Please, we can all tell when she found out because we all found out. But Daisy actually has a different answer to this. Daisy says, well, after the rose ceremony, when Rachel left, you two looked at each other, and she's like, in that moment, she went, wow, I don't think it's me. So that's very interesting. And she said, but, despite all of that, she tried to suppress it. And when she met his family, she felt pretty great after that. But then when it obviously went into the last date is when she said she kind of felt anxious, and because in the moment interviews happen after the fact. So obviously at that point she would have felt anxious, but I mean, yeah. And, she's like, I kind of realized I shouldn't have felt that way, if I was going to be the one. And she's like, and when we were throwing the rocks into the fire, I knew he can't look past this process with me. So that was another indication, which is true. You're all there making wishes and shit, and he's not saying anything at all, validating to her, which honestly, I'd rather he not lead her on by all means. But it's at that point, I feel like Joey and Gary are kind of the first of their of in a long time where it's they can't even fake it till they make it anymore. They just are nah, I'm good. I kind of know who I'm picking already, to a point where it's obvious. Daisy took a very different approach than Leslie, but both women knew that it wasn't them before the men could tell them. And that's a very interesting thing. Now, I think with Carrie, it's very different. But with Joey, it's just I don't know. I don't know if I should hate it or if I should respect it. But I'm in this weird place with, Jesse then asks, how hard was it to walk away? And she says, yeah, it was hard, but it was the best thing for all of us. And she does tell Joey that, you know, her light was dimmed until she met him, and she thanks him for that. So that's great. I'm happy for at least that, if nothing else, for her. Um, so now Kelsey is here. We're saying bye to Daisy for now. Kelsey's here. And Joey says, she is a light, and he doesn't know, he doesn't think he'll ever have a boring day with her. Kelsey says that she feels her mom's presence through this. So what's next for them? Joey is apparently going to be moving to NOLA, and then hopefully they will both be moving to New York City in the summer. That's pretty cool. Joey tells Kelsey that he is so lucky and he can't wait to spend the rest of his life with her. Jesse has at least one last surprise for them. Y'all are going back to Jasper National Park. Listen, I'm a Canadian girly, but and Jasper looks absolutely beautiful, don't get me wrong. But Jasper? I'm just saying. Anyway. Also, I know Kelsey's dad did say something, but there wasn't a whole lot to it, really and truly. He seemed pretty awkward in the moment, but, he said all the right things, and, yeah. But, Jesse, just say to Mark, I don't know. Maybe we'll see you somewhere down the road. Just saying. Yo, he's gonna be in the Golden Bachelorette. Either he's gonna be in the Golden Bachelorette, or he's gonna be in the Golden Bachelorette, and I think it doesn't even matter how far he goes. I could see him being the next Golden Bachelor. I really could see him. Yeah. I can't wait to see it, if that is what's gonna happen. So anyway, we're gonna take a pause on Joey and Kelsey, I think, actually for the rest of the show. So who's gonna be our next Bachelorette? Could it be this familiar face? And we bring out Daisy. So she says, she's doing more than okay because, she'll be leaving here better than ever. And Jesse brings up, the last kind of line that she said when she, if you don't recall, she said something along the lines of, if this is how I can love the wrong person, imagine how I can love the right person. So she says, I knew it wasn't me, but what is next? Are you ready to open up to someone new? She says, the last year has been, pretty crazy for her. But actually, a year, the day prior, was the anniversary of when she got her cochlear implant. And then she did this experience, so it's been quite a lot. She said this is kind of the first time that she has her health and her hearing, and I think also, this kind of confidence that maybe she didn't have before too. And she, or at least was stripped away from her. And she says, so this time it's time to focus on me and the people that I love. So no, I am not ready. And that's okay. I love her. But she is not our bachelorette. But before we do bring out the new bachelorette, I think we should reunite you with someone. And that someone is Kelsey. So they come out, or ending this with them the way it ended before. And Jesse says, y'all made history together. This was the first time we've seen anything like this on the show. On any iteration, for that matter, of the show. And not only that, but the fact that you two are on stage together is also a first. We've never had this before. And that's pretty fucking incredible. I feel like, I feel like watching Golden Bachelor, seeing these women really empower each other has really opened up new paths that we've never seen before on the show. And honestly, yes, I think it's the women, for the most part, being great to each other. So obviously we had some hiccups along the way, but I really think it's the women being amazing to each other. But I also think the editing, because they saw, oh, people actually like when people like each other. So I think it's a little bit of both. So now it's time for us to find out who our next bachelorette actually is. And we're actually going to have Charity pass on the torch to the new bachelorette. And who better to be the next bachelorette than Jen? Okay, so we were all really off. I think we were all in consensus, if you remember. Huge percentage, when I did my poll, agreed with me, saying that we all thought it was going to be Maria. Um, but Jen was not on my radar. And obviously, I think we all have theories as to why this could be. But so on the one hand, let's talk about the positive of this. This is our first Asian bachelorette, first Asian lead ever, which is absolutely incredible in and of itself. I think it's very needed at this point because they have been so underrepresented. As Jen mentions when she's on stage too, not just on the show, but just on television in general. So this is pretty huge. And I love that. But on the other hand, too, I'm just like, Jen was not on my radar. I know why they're doing it, but Jen was not on my radar at all because although I didn't dislike her, I actually like her. She wasn't my favorite person either. She was so under the radar. So that's why they kind of changed the formula with her in order to have that, which is fine. It's their show. They can do that. But it was just, it was interesting. It was an interesting choice. I think honestly, we could have seen Leia potentially be the next bachelorette if she didn't shoot herself in the foot. I think that could have happened too. But I don't know, it was very shocking because I'm like, Jen, I was expecting her. Now, that makes sense for what we saw during Women Tell All because I was very surprised that Jen was on the hot seat because I'm like, why is she on the hot seat? Like, yes, with the whole dynamic of Asian families and how that could have worked with hometowns was um was um was something to be discussed, but I still didn't think it was enough to be discussed when we had just different dynamics, when she didn't make it to hometowns, right? And I think this is the first time we have someone who didn't make it to hometowns be the bachelorette. So that's also a new thing. And I'm like, why is she there? Now I know why. They were teeing it up. And again, I don't dislike it, her being the bachelorette. It's going to take some time for me to adjust because I really wanted it to be Maria. And I can't imagine it. I couldn't imagine it not being her. But it's fine. It's fine. The thing is, it would have been kind of cool to see maybe then if Maria was not the bachelorette, we have Bachelor in Paradise. But from what I'm hearing, that's not happening anymore. But we'll see. So, yeah, that's our bachelorette. So, kind of ask her, what is she looking for? And, she's looking for someone with a big, personality. Yeah, Debbie. Some people just want a big personality. So, well endowed with a personality. But, ultimately, she is just looking for her perfect match. Mm-hmm. So there's a lot of lucky men who are going to be meeting her soon. And with that being said, let's move on to the hot goss that I have. It's pretty much the end of the episode, but let's move on to a little bit of the hot goss that I do have, and that is, y'all, I got the names of the men that we are going to be seeing on the season. So let's buckle up and let's do it. So we got Aaron from Tulsa, Oklahoma. So the other thing for us, we get into all of this, I do want to say that the contestants' ages range from 24 to 35, and the men obviously are all over the country, and there's going to be some from Canada as well. So that's great. One thing that I will mention before we get into all of this too is the first potential contestant in the batch of photos. His name is Aaron, which you'll see, and he's actually the brother of the Bachelor season 16 alum Noah Erb, which I'm gonna need to remind myself who that is. I feel like I do know who it is. He was the guy with the mustache, right? The really weird ass mustache. Yeah, it would have been him. And so yeah, he's the brother of that person, so you'll see. And yeah, so they kind of just talk about Noah and whatever. So he looks nothing like him, by the way, like nothing like him. Anyways, if that's the right guy I'm thinking. But anyways, yeah, so let's get into the names of the guys. So I'm not going to say ages, I'm just going to say the names and where they're from. So we got Aaron, again, Tulsa, Oklahoma. We have Austin from San Diego, San Diego, California. Brandon from Vancouver, British Columbia. We got Brett from Manheim, Pennsylvania. Brian from Boynton Beach, Florida. I know I said that wrong. Corbin from Los Angeles, California. Okay. Dakota from Paradise Valley, Arizona. Devin from Houston, Texas. Dylan from Elk Grove, California. He's real cute, y'all. Grant from Houston, Texas. He's also cute, but he kind of looks like an F-boy. Not gonna lie. We got Hakeem from Stromberg, Illinois. Hassan from Denver, Colorado. Jahan, I believe that's how you say his name, from New York. Jeremy from Fairfield, Connecticut. John from Delray Beach, Florida. Jonathan H. Do we have another Jonathan? From Oxford, Mississippi. Jonathan J. from Los Angeles, California. Kevin from Denver, Colorado. Marcus from Raleigh, North Carolina. Marvin from Santa Monica, California. Matt from Atlanta, Georgia. Mozzie, who is also real fine, but I think he's an F-boy too. He's from Albany, New York. Ricky from Miami, Florida. Sam M, who's real cute, from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. Sam N, so we have another Sam, from Carlsbad, California. Spencer from Dallas, Texas. Thomas from Tucker, Georgia. Tomas, let's get twisted, he's from Toronto, Canada. And that is our guy. So of course I will have those up on socials for you once this episode is up. And we will be getting the season sometime in July. And of course we will be covering it. But before we end this off, I do want to make an announcement that I think is pretty important. So I do want to make the announcement. We got announcement slash the hot goss. MILF Manor is coming, and it's obviously going to be in place of Love in Translation. Because I believe starts on the 28th of April. And I'm I'm covering this shit show. I am so excited. I wasn't sure it was coming back, but it is. And I'm really excited. So I have the women. I will be posting the pictures on social as well once I get this episode out. But let's go through these women before we end off the show. So we got Barbie, Barby, Barbie. She's 45. Barbie is a super confident and secure in who she is. She doesn't take herself too seriously, but if her buttons are pushed, she's not afraid to let her spiciness come out. Her toxic trait is drama. Great. And she loves to hash things out. Barbie will never steer clear of a confrontation and is not shy about starting one either. This former stripper turned marketing executive is looking for a younger man to treat her like a princess. Then we got Christina, who's 46. Christina understands she can be intimidating, but knows there's a difference between cocky and confident. On the weekends, she can be found in her hometown dancing the night away or watching sports. Christina never thought she would find love after her 20-year marriage ended in divorce, but now she is confident that a younger Mr. Right is out there. Crystal, who's 48. Crystal has a tough exterior but sweet on the inside. She likes to dine and wine and always has the biggest bill. This spunky girl at heart loves to keep is classy. That's said completely wrong anyway, but makes sure everyone around her knows she still plans to get the last word. After the passing of her son, that's really sad, Crystal stays busy working as a makeup artist, taking workout classes, cooking and dancing at clubs, but she's finally ready to settle down and find love. We got Jamie, who's 51. Jamie has a reputation for being positive, dancing her heart out and bringing light wherever she goes. Because her infectious energy, she's always been a popular girl and has a ton of friends. Jamie has been married and divorced twice, and now that all 3 of her kids are out of the house, she is ready to find love. Will the third time be the charm? We got Kelly, who's 59 and does not look 59, y'all. Kelly might be an absolute bombshell now, but growing up, she had a low self-esteem and struggled with feeling accepted. At the age of 59, Kelly is in the best shape of her life and is proud of her age. She's a Pilates instructor, passionate about her morning smoothies and staying in shape. And after multiple disastrous blind dates, she's ready to finally find the love of her life. We got last but not least Lynette, who is 50. Lynette's known for turning heads when she walks into a room. She loves her work and is known for being direct and assertive, but in the best way possible. After getting married at a young age and having only one partner for most of her life, wow, Lynette's divorce ignited something new in her. She's tired of playing the field and she's ready to settle down again, hopefully for good this time. And that is our women. I will post them all on social, and yeah, and we will be covering it. So I will be covering that when I'm back. So also there could be a little bit of delay once I'm back getting stuff done. But of course we'll figure it all out. If I'm not trying to put this out into the universe, I really want to get this done and over with now. If for some reason I don't end up having surgery this week, I will try my best to get some of the shows out to you during the time I'm waiting, but it really depends on what's happening. But fingers crossed it has happened, so we're, but anyway, so again, with Married at First Sight, it's just a hit or miss depending on what's happening. I should be getting some answers today. I'm recording this on a Wednesday. I'm hoping, well, at least this part of it I'm recording on a Wednesday. So hopefully I will know. But if I do end up having surgery tomorrow, Married at First Sight will have to wait until I'm back. So I will combine that with the reunion, when I'm back. But definitely I'll try my best to get it out to you before that. But, it's not looking good if I have surgery tomorrow. That I'm telling you. So anyway, that is it for The Bachelor. That is a wrap on The Bachelor. And I guess before I just close this all out, I will say this was a really great season. I thought Joey did an incredible job with being Bachelor. We haven't seen any, the men be really good at this in such a long time. So it was really refreshing to see. He did such an amazing job. I don't know if he's listening to this, I doubt it. But if you are, Joey, you did incredible. And it was really great to see. And I'm happy for both of them. I mean, I definitely saw something different with Kelsey when I first saw her too. And I thought, I can see that. And I think there's a lot of the way my love for Maria just clouded all judgment, so it's fine. And my love for Daisy just clouded all judgment, but that's fine. But yeah, I'm happy for both of them. I'm happy for Daisy, whatever she pursues going forward. And hopefully this isn't the end. Hopefully we'll see, I'm sure we'll see Joey and Kelsey again. They're part of this family. They're not going anywhere. But hopefully we'll see like Daisy and Maria again, Rachel, in the future. So, but yeah, that is finally a wrap on The Bachelor. So if you like what you heard, please rate, review the podcast on either Apple Podcasts or Spotify. Also, don't forget that you can also share us with everyone in your life if you really love this. And I do want to read those reviews. I'm definitely getting 5-star ratings, but I want to read those reviews. So send me those reviews and I will read those 4 and 5-star reviews on the podcast. Also, we're on every one of your favorite podcast apps, every one of them, including you can find us on YouTube at Reality Tea Times 2. If you want to connect with us, you can do so by going to either Facebook or Instagram at Reality Tea Times 2. You can also find us on Twitter, TikTok, Reddit at Reality Tea Times 2 Pod. We also have our email, which is at realityteatimes2 at hotmail.com. Definitely want to hear from you guys. And we also have our new website where you can listen to all of these episodes. You can review the podcast on there as well. You can connect with me in any way, all the stuff. It's all there, and you can find me there at www.realityteatimes2, all spelled out, .podpage.io. It's there. And don't forget, I also have my other podcast with my friend Mikkel, Next Week Podcast, where we talk about all kinds of different topics. But you can find us on any of your favorite podcast apps over there as well. Or you can also go to YouTube, and you go to Next Take Podcast, as well as our website, which is solo.to/Next Take Podcast. So yeah, there's that, and that's basically that. And again, don't forget, if all of this information is overwhelming, we do have all of the links, everything in our show notes. But that is it for now, guys. Thanks.